Yeah. Okay. Seems like we are live right now. Great.
Hi everyone.
So, hi everybody. Let me just do the honors of
Hi.
introducing all of us. We are again back here from Must Research with a
Yeah.
quick talk on the future of
Okay.
AI.
Seems like we are live right now.
Is there a feedback?
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So, before I start, let's just say that we had planned to do it on the 15th of August, as we typically do. But we know how disturbing some of the events in India have been and which kind of derailed us. And we have all been very disturbed in a way. We all live in different cities. But what really made me think is that, okay, can AI solve this problem somehow? So if I hope someday AI is able to change the mindset of people. And with that hope, I think I'll just start off this live. So, why are we particularly discussing the future of AI education in India? And let me give a quick background of each of us here. So before I go on to the other panelists, let me introduce myself. My name is Tony. That's the short form. The actual name is a little difficult. I work in Adobe. I'm primarily from marketing. I deal with AI, but more from an enthusiast perspective, not from a practitioner perspective, which is why I've actually got three practitioners with me, right? So I would leave it to Joy, Raman, and Chandrika to introduce themselves before we start the talk.
Thank you, Tony, and good evening, everyone. So, yeah, I'm Joy. I'm the founder of Must Research, and we are working with this artificial intelligence and emerging technologies for almost more than 2 decades. We are focusing on deep research, which are being implemented and which are very close to the society, and we are trying to also bridge the gap between industry and academia. So, the value of deep research and the implementation and applications as a product, as solution, and so on. And we are having like almost 750 plus like members who are associated with us, either in full-time, part-time, consultant, volunteers, and in different modes. So once again, thanks and welcome everyone in this session.
Hi. I
Raman?
think I'll go next. Hi everybody. My name is Raman. For more than a decade, I have worked in the e-commerce and omni-channel industry. So I worked mostly in the pricing industry where we try to optimize the pricing strategies on behalf of the business, understand their pain points. So which means working with, machine learning models. As you know, these days, pricing strategies are governed by machine learning models. So AI has a big role to play over there as well. I have also delved a little bit into, forecasting, forecasting of the futuristic devices. So that's where, again, ML and AI has to play a great role. So unlike Joy, who has been pushing the boundaries of science, I would still consider myself to be an enthusiast and more of a practitioner, a little bit of a practitioner, rather than, rather than a scientist. So that's an introduction from my end. Yeah.
Chandrika?
Chandrika, you're on
Hi
mute.
everyone, I'm Chandrika.
Hmm.
No, I'm not on mute.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Chandrika. I'm the Director of Business Execution in Mass Research Lab. So I had a software background, but still, as per the demand of this artificial intelligence nowadays, taking up every field, every arena of human life. And of course, there is a huge unforeseen um, development of AI in every field, including education as well as this technical area. And actually, AI is and will be redefining our life in the coming few years, which we can sense that very well. So, definitely, we are looking forward to that era where positivity and uh, definitely some good innovations as well as usefulness of AI will be felt more and more. Definitely, Tony, which you mentioned in the beginning, that the event which has shook the whole nation in Kolkata, Arjikor. So there also, if some kind of innovations and apart from AI can help uh, our future generation to get rid of this kind of social demons and activities, we will be really happy. So let's consider today's
Great.
journey. We can proceed.
Great.
Uh,
Thank you. And in fact, let me just also highlight that since I mentioned Must Research, these guys are actually masters of patenting. They patent everything, right? So if you're listening to us right now and you want some help with patenting, you want some information, that these would be the right guys to connect. And that being said, congratulations, Chandrika, for, I think you just filed your first patent, I think a couple of months back. So
and
congrats on that. So let's just start off, and let me start off with some data, because, I speak data only. That's my language. So let's start off with some data that we've figured out from NASSCOM, right? And we all know that there's a lot of talk around AI. We all know it's important. We don't know how important, right? And that's where I think a lot of the gaps come. We don't know how it's really shaping our lives. In fact, a lot of the AI projects that are running in corporates and organizations that we see also, there's a lot of doubt as to, first, how long will it take to implement? Are we going to get the right people? Right people being the primary condition here, right? And then obviously time, and finally impact, right? So AI itself is, it's kind of like a baby right now. It's getting shaped. People still don't know which way it will go, but they know that it's going to have a very strong impact, right? And let me just highlight some data from NASSCOM. So I think last year they kind of highlighted that the Indian AI market is expected to reach about 7.8 billion by 2025, and it's growing at a rate of compounded annual growth rate of 33%. Now that's a decent number. It's just a nascent industry compared to the fact that it's just started off, and with 7.8 billion being actually a conservative number from NASSCOM, because I'm sure it's going to get redefined very fast, right? Now, when we say these numbers, right, with billions in it, it sounds very interesting. And now the question comes as to who are going to do it, right? So this is where the second data really comes, where BCG and NASSCOM have both highlighted that India actually has the highest penetration of AI skills in the world, with over 600,000 people trained in artificial intelligence skills. Now that is also very interesting, because then it literally would have been the AI capital of the world, but it's not yet, right? And the question comes why? It's because it is a market where people are learning to use AI, but but not necessarily skilled enough to actually build AI, right? And that's where I think, because that's a Forbes report that I highlight, that that it's the actual number of people who can be called AI professionals. That because for example, I use ChatGPT and Claude and all of that, but more as a practitioner, right? But people who can build stuff in AI, I think that number is going to be a little over 2 to 3,000 across the country, right? So that's like proper AI professionals who are out there. So there is definitely a gap, whether perceived, whether real, but we know there is a gap, right? And therefore comes the question of, okay, where are we heading in terms of AI education in India? So my first question, I think, goes off to Joy, primarily because Joy works with a lot of educational institutions. Those who know him, they know it, and Chandrika also now. So he basically, gives a lot of talks, and he has been a part of the academic ecosystem for a while. So Joy, you have been involved with AI education for some time now. I mean, I've been seeing your lectures for quite some time. And how do you see the AI adoption that is happening in these colleges and universities that you are a part of? How do you see them taking up AI in terms of, the kind of courses they run and all?
Yeah, definitely, Tony. For the last 5 years, I have seen the changes. Earlier, it was like, say, Department of Computer Science or Department of Information Technology, and they had few specializations on, say, machine learning, deep learning, and so on, or some crash courses. But nowadays, even engineering in artificial intelligence, right, or data science, machine,
Right.
those courses are being introduced. And not only engineering, I think we have seen BCA, BBA, and other graduation programs, which are like non-BTech programs, are also having specialization in AI. So those kind of courses are being introduced recently in the last 3 to 5 years I have seen. So that is definitely a great adoption program. Second thing, what I have observed, like students are more keen towards learning more things beyond their curriculum, right? Even if I follow a tier one organization's curricula, right? Whatever they are teaching, sometimes that is not exactly what is required in the industry or in the corporate world. So there is still a gap between the theory and the concept and the algorithms what I am learning in my college versus what is actually required in the office, right? If I join some company. So now in Must Research, we are trying to understand that gap. And that is good. Like definitely colleges are encouraging the students to learn AI. And at the same time, the demand in the corporate world is becoming more higher and more advanced also, right? I mean, I recently received a call from some organization and say like, can you please share or recommend few candidates who are having 5+ years of experience in large language model. I said, like 5 years ago, no one has been talking about
No,
LLM.
has been not correct.
But good that that demand has been created, like prompt engineering. So a lot of new terms are coming, and now people are aware. And we just got to know, okay, this is just essential skills, just like using a smartphone or using a computer, right? Which was like 20 years back, 30 years back, we couldn't imagine. Same way, AI also, we have to understand how it is being leveraged by multiple applications, be it like a just a face unlock feature in my phone, or a
Mhm.
voice recognition or voice command, or say you're talking to Alexa or Siri or Google or Cortana. So all these technologies are actually AI. So now students, teachers, faculty members, and everyone is, I mean, adapting that. And the most important thing is like they're encouraging. Recently, I have seen like I'm getting a lot of invitations to speak about innovation. Right? That's again very important part of
Mhm.
AI. Like it's not about only I'm understanding what is there. Also from there, can I invent something new? Can I think something which is outside the box and all those things. So, but yeah, to answer your question in one line, definitely the academic organizations are now very much AI oriented. The courses, starting with the tier one organization till all normal colleges, including non-technical colleges, non-technical universities. They are also
Right.
encouraging AI.
Right. Chandrika, you have also been interacting with quite a few education institutions now, right? And how do you augment to what Joy said? How do you add to that?
Um, See, Tony, I was just thinking just 2 decades back, when we were doing 2 decades back, if you think that when we were doing our graduation, so that time there were new subjects introduced as BCA kind of,
Right.
or Bachelor in Computer Application, or BSc in Computer Science. Those two subjects were pretty new, and the students who ever have selected those kind of lines or education, they were actually a little inside themselves also, they were a little doubtful or hesitant what
Mhm.
actually the future is going to be. And just if you compare that 2 decades back, whatever the situation is exactly similar with nowadays. As Joy mentioned, um, there are so many colleges and organizations nowadays, they are offering in BSc in data science or
Right.
BBA with specialization in artificial intelligence and data science. this is a newly introduced subject for many of the students or the professors or the coordinator. The people who are teaching in those colleges, they are also maybe not aware or not adequately uh, um,
Great.
conversant or very
Right.
comfortable with how to teach AI, how to this introduce artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. All theoretical parts are printed in books and they are delivered. They're actually theoretical. matlab, they are covering those things in their classes and curriculum, but the gap which is getting over and over important is that understanding how this artificial intelligence can be implemented in your project work or something like that. When they are actual AI, they're getting a part of actual AI project, then the students are feeling that specific gap where they have the knowledge, but implementing that knowledge into achieving those confidence to look forward, okay, this is it. That hesitation period actually we are going through right now. So that area which we are focusing, mass research is focusing on to help out for all these students from
Right.
engineering background or normal BSc background. So this is a transition phase which we are trying to be very careful and we are nurturing this transition period to get them confident about this AI education. So
Right.
there
That
is
that
a
from
huge
that's where,
transition.
yeah, that's where my actually my next question comes from. Because whenever so I live in Bangalore, and that's a 1.5 hour drive from anywhere to anywhere, right? Minimum. So I drive from home to office. On a good day, it's 1.5 hours. On a bad day, it's 2 hours. So expect about 3.5 hours on the street anyway, right? So what do I do during that time? I listen to
Considering
podcasts.
Bangalore traffic also.
Yeah. So that's the time when I actually listen to all these video news and everything that's running on YouTube, right? And every 20 seconds there is an ad on somebody who's teaching AI, right? So there is some academy, there's an independent expert, somebody is trying to teach me chat GPT. I don't know, I'm very confused, right? So this 1.5 hours, I think a lot of it actually goes into trying to skip those ads. But there's a lot of, I hear a lot of people trying to teach me AI in different ways. I think it's a fact. But that being said, we all know that it's important. And but we see a lot of these AI ads. So, I have this idea because a lot of people tell me that, okay, you come to my 1 week masterclass, I'll teach you. You come to my 1 day masterclass, I'll teach you. You come to my 6 month course, I'll teach you. You come to my 1 year course, I teach you. You take a 3 year course in something. I don't know. So if I'm a novice, because I'm sure if it's a fad, if it's in trending, then people are going to join in, right? A lot of people are going to join into these courses. So how much time really does it take? And this is a question for both Raman and Joy. So what I would love to know is what does it take for someone to go from a novice to an expert? It's the expert that NASSCOM considers, or Forbes have been telling, right, that there are about 2,000 people who can do something useful rather than just use it. So if I had to move from, let's say, a pure ChatGPT user and to somebody who's actually going to build something, what is that it's going to take academically? And Raman, you can just, counter him, vouch for him, validate him by saying what does it take for the industry to accept somebody as an expert?
Sure.
Joy goes first.
Okay, cool. So you asked again specific question like how much time it will take. Okay, so and you also mentioned about that different advertisements coming for starting with learn AI in 24 hours to till say 3 years or 4 years kind of curriculum.
Right.
the thing is like, again, AI is a subject, and it's not new. It's 1956, Professor John McCarthy, he actually coined this particular term, artificial intelligence, which is like simulation of human intelligence. Now, why it is very popular nowadays? Because of like lot of new things came, especially the paradigm shift on the hardware, the available data, the storage, cloud, right? Processing units, everything is now improved, which was not there in 1956. Particularly about late 50s, even when in our like graduation time, as Chandrika was mentioning, say even late 90s or early 2000, we are having like a lot of challenges with the hardware itself, right? So that
Right.
so now, what AI we have to learn? Now, definitely there are a lot of things. One is whether I should learn only to apply AI, or whether I should learn how to just operate AI, or whether I should learn how to develop AI, right? And
Correct.
develop again two ways. One is like engineering kind of development, another is core research and development, right? So we can actually put it in multiple buckets of learning, what kind of learning we want, right? If I want to learn the algorithms, the mathematics, the statistics, it's a different learning curve, right? But there are many people who say like, I don't want to know about that nitty-gritty. So yeah, I want to learn the application more rather than going inside the mathematics and statistics. Okay. And
Right.
saying, okay, based on your background, we can decide on that also, right? So everyone is not doing, say, MTech or PhD in computer science. At the same time, there are people who are working in computer science or programming in multiple corporates right now. And those who are
Right.
working in even IT service companies, they are not all like PhD in computer science or MTech in computer science, because they don't have to go with the all nitty-gritty of algorithms, crunching, compiler, design, but how to run operating system, they know. They are not compiler designer. The same way, AI also we can take like few steps back and think like what AI I should learn depending on my interest, my career. If I'm a
Right.
manager, then the content what should I learn is different from if I'm an engineer. If I'm a fresher, versus the content would be different if I'm having 10, 15 years of experience. Because the leadership also, right? I mean, recently, all of you know, right? I mean, the top level leadership, including CEOs, right? They're not coming from the business background. Most of them, 90% of them, even the big corporates, are having CEOs from technical background. Does it mean like they write programs every day? No. Apart from a few senior fellows who still love to code. But knowing the technical thing is very important now. Whether I will code or not is a secondary. But I can code, or I can understand someone who is writing a particular piece of code. I can challenge or I can understand that. That is important. Now, that is one part. Second is even product development, AI products, right? Now,
Right.
if someone wants to become, I mean, a AI product manager, just like software product manager, AI product manager. Now, that person has to learn all those things which are required or essential for the machine learning life cycle. Just like software development life cycle, machine learning projects also have a different life cycle, like say, data
Right.
collection, meaning, annotation, all these things are there, right? Now, a product manager should learn that. Then executives should learn something else. So in that way, so Tony, to answer your question, like what time should we take? So it depends on what career path I am taking, whether it is a business oriented, whether it will be research oriented. Okay, if it is research oriented, it will take more time, because then I have to go through all the nitty-gritty of mathematics, statistics,
Right.
the backbone, economics to some extent, psychology also, because those are the subjects from AI got evolved, right? So we have to understand each and everything, how inside our brain the axon dendrons work, how they communicate, how our weights are being generated inside brain. Then only I can try to simulate a neural network.
Right.
Then only I can actually explain what is activation function. So all these things are important. At the same time, it depends on who is willing to learn and what till what extent. So that is very important. And then based on that, even Master Research also has like different kinds of program, whether it is a 12 weeks project, just hands-on capstone project, you understand components, try to build your own pipeline, will provide you data, will mentor you based on the algorithms. Then you complete that, entire application, the machine learning application, AI application, and get a certificate. And that is a 3 months program. Now we have a higher, 3 years program also for patent and all, because then it is not
Right.
only understanding, you have to also invent. That's a, you understood ABCD. Can you now talk about XYZ, which is non-existing? Which actually comes from your brain based on studies. Definitely research requires a lot of studies also. We have to understand others'
Right.
work, then only I can invent something new, right? So in that way, we have like various type of courses, and at the same time, it's all about how much hunger that candidate has. Depending on that, the entire education system is there, right? So it's not about we are spoon feeding someone. That's impossible. Take any subject, right? Whether it is AI or like a dance coaching or piano class. But at the same time, the time we have kept it very flexible because everyone is busy with their either studies or work or management or at home, right? All these things, balancing this work-life strategy and coming and taking up time is important. So we are trying to keep it very flexible. If someone wants to complete the project within a week, great. You work day and night, learn quickly, right? And if you are taking like a little bit more time because of other commitments and all, that is also fine. And
Great.
coming to the courses offered, there are multiple, but what we are saying, contents are there over internet. It's not about, again, going for an expensive course. Rather, you work, practice, study which is only required. Take only those chunks. Yeah.
Makes sense. Raman, quick question here. As a follow-up to this.
Yeah.
He mentioned hunger, right? If I'm not hungry for innovation, right? If I don't want to invent, but I still
then
want
nobody
to
can
grow
help
in my
you.
career.
Yeah,
Right?
no, then nobody can help you. I think then it's
Yeah, then
then
how
it's
much
lost.
hunger do I need? Because I think hunger needs to be also categorized.
I
How
think
much hunger I would need probably to be in your team or to kind of do something which
no,
is worthwhile in your organization.
yeah, no, I think more than being in the organization, right? The hunger is about what you want to do. And I think in that case, Joy, the way he categorized it, right? Like either you want to do research into AI, you want to build products, or you want to, use, you want to operate that, or you want to just be, the user of those AI applications. That's where the main crux lies actually. Say you are a political scientist, right?
Right.
Just to give an example, you could use AI tools, or you could just use, let's say, some AI tools to kind of cluster, certain populations where it is, or you could use AI tools to say, okay, this population, is grouped in some way or the other, right? There, what happens is, basically what you're using is that AI tools to further your research or your domain of expertise over there. So that hunger is
Right.
basically in your domain, but you're using AI tools to further that, to further your cause actually. So that's the main thing actually. I mean, nobody, I mean, of course, there are like hardcore scientists, who think about abstract problems, right? And I would put them in the 5% of the category, like very hardcore like mathematical abstract problem, like NP hard problems, like how do we deal with that? Rest 95% of us are basically in the users of that. We want to solve business problems, we want to solve social
Right.
problems, right? So that's where it comes really. And for job market, like you said, everybody says that I'll teach you AI or this and that. I think, and like you mentioned at the beginning of your talk, we have 600,000 people who are skilled in stuff, so that, they can be on the path to AI, but we are still not there.
Correct.
That's because our education training has always, focused on math and science and all that, right? And even at the junior level, when you want to get into an AI, I don't think the companies always will ask for some real experience, and as a college graduate, you won't have as much, real world experience. But still, with those skills, all what they're looking for is those math skills, some coding skills. And I say as much because these days you have internships, you have Kaggle context, you can showcase your skills, in different ways, right? uh the problem comes when the not the problem, the other issue is with regard to the seasoned, professionals, when they want to move from one industry to other, right? So
Mhm.
in one industry, AI has, made its pathway. Let's say in the financial domain, right? In the financial space, let's say for detecting fraud, right? It's pretty mature in there, right? Whereas in the retail space is not so much right now.
Right.
If an executive wants to basically make a transition from the finance industry to the retail industry, right? It's basically a case of how much of that how much of that expertise can be transitioned from one industry to other in terms of that, and
Right.
like and like other senior positions is like how much can you mentor upcoming scientists or uh, upcoming scientists or upcoming product managers or upcoming leaders, in fact, even. So I completely agree with Joy, what he says. And today the stack of the product managers who even manage AI and ML solutions, they come mostly from, they have the tech background a little bit, but they come from business schools, because the number of
Right.
stakeholders, right, who are using that AI and ML are actually business folks, or in the social domain, who want to solve a problem, right? I mean, I think in all of our AI, we should not lose sight of the thing that we are here to solve a problem, or we are here to solve, we are provide to certain solutions, not just keep on building technologies, right?
Right.
So I think that's where the focus should be, and that's where uh, the companies are looking for as well, or any, in fact, for that matter as well, that where is your focus, and where is your passion over there. So that's all I have to say, I guess. Yeah.
Makes sense. And that, because we started off with the point of, these thousands of ads that are, hounding me on YouTube, and everywhere else, not just on YouTube, right? Even on Facebook, on LinkedIn, everywhere. And I think out of those ads that I see, right, based on what you said, I think about 60% of them are trying to teach me LLM, right? Because that's the term that everybody now knows. I think it's become like very common parlance. It wasn't supposed to be, right? When GPT-3
Yeah.
came,
If
I
you go to YouTube now, right? I mean, there are several of these coaching, like videos,
right.
etc. I was trying to, find something for my own, to see. So I was trying to find whether someone has done some model on conditional logic model, right? So what I found was everybody teaches you, the two variable model. There are like thousands of videos, and there is one video. There is a biogenic what which actually does what you want actually, So the usual stuff is all these videos. I'm not against any one of them. What I feel is they'll help you scratch the surface, but then it's your own, inner hunger or thirst, where which will drive you to where you want to go. Actually, I guess
Makes
that's my
sense.
take
And
on it. Yeah.
and and that goes right because I'm a little wary of joining anybody. So suppose I go and join an educational institution. Joy, from my understanding of LLM, and I'll say where my understanding comes from before I joined you guys, or right after I joined Must as a member, right? I was trying to download GPT-3. You know what happened to my computer, right? During that time, obviously, it didn't get downloaded. Plus, it ate up my computer. It did something to that. I had to buy a new computer. So, from that perspective, I'm just saying that, with all these educational institutions that are talking about LLM, which is LLM is like it's in the news, right? Everybody wants to extract data. They want to generate more and more content. They want to generate reports. So there are like multiple use cases of LLM that we see, right? Generate code. So in terms of the actual infrastructure, based on the institutions that you work with, how much of the infrastructure do you think is already there, or it's lacking, or it's there in terms of, because somebody like a student, or even a professional, they would join an institute with a promise, right? And how much of that promise can actually they fulfill, given the fact that I doubt, how much of that infrastructure is actually there in the institutions that you see.
So there are two types I have seen. One is like cloud-based approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
They typically subscribe for their students on cloud so that they get the virtual GPUs and everything. Another is like they're setting up AI labs. Even we are working closely with them, with some of the great organizations like Intel, Nvidia, and so on. Mass Research is already partnered. And Mass Research is also partnered with say Microsoft, Google, Amazon, right? The thing is like we have not mentioned anything like this is better, that is better, and so on. What we think based on their budget, right? I mean, the education institutes, they also have like certain budgets for different pockets, right? If they want to set up AI labs, that is also great. But then they have to leverage. The thing is like, even if it is a powerful system with, like, I mean, great processor and GPUs, the graphic cards, and all these things are great. RAM is huge and so on. But then are they leveraging, or they are working on these two variable regression, what decision tree, what Raman just mentioned, right? If they are working on LLM and custom LLM, right? The thing is like, if they want to build their own language model, whether it is large or tiny or small, that comes later, because the like conversational AI and LLM based conversational AI which is available in the market now, those are all trained on internet data. Now, internet data, anyway, you have search engines. You have Google, you have Bing, you have some other search engines as well. But the thing is, anyway, you are getting those answers by searching. Probably you have to go through 10 different links or 20 different blue links. Instead of that, you are getting a summary and so on. If it is internet data, the moment you want to build a conversational system for your own data, and that data can be any organization, any bank, say financial institution, any hospital, say a security system for Chandrika was mentioning about the incident, right?
Right.
So think about like all the students, faculty members, all their details, CCTV camera, CCTV, and everything is coming, alarming system, everything together, knowledge graph and a language model. See, language model is not only text. It can be language of
Right.
image. It can be language of videos also.
Makes
And then
sense.
holistic representation, but custom specific. If it is like, for one particular business, one particular organization, then that is not so easy to build. And we cannot just train an inbuilt, say, GPT-4, and we just retrain, augment, fine tune. Those words are great, but it's not that easy. One is it is costly affair. Second is, when I'm thinking about like customizing it, then you have to go through the deep code as well. So better like take a lighter model, and not only augmentation, try to understand what the code is, and then based on the data, uh, I mean, on the organization and data from the domain. Say healthcare domain, if I'm working, then there are a lot of general knowledge only specific to healthcare. Now, within healthcare, that can be,
Right.
say, oncology department, ophthalmology department, right? It depends on which. Now, oncology also, we can go for multiple different types. I worked on several similar projects in my previous organization. So some person said like, hey, I want to fit a model for CLL. I said, what is CLL? I was thinking it is a machine learning model. They said, this CLL is a type of blood cancer. And then I got to know the full form is chronic lymphocytic leukemia.
Right.
Now, that domain knowledge was missing inside my brain. So my language model and the vocabulary doesn't have that. Now, the moment I acquired that knowledge, then I started learning. Then my modeling strength and what kind of data should I collect, everything came into the picture. So like infrastructure is very important, definitely, whether it is cloud-based approach or on-premise, that is essential. And then based on that, we can take it forward, like what kind of models, because infrastructure also we have to justify why it is required. Otherwise, I mean, the more you put money, you will get better infra. But
Right.
what would be the optimum one, right? Should I go for 512 GB RAM, or say 256 GB RAM is also enough? That depends on my use case, what I'm trying to solve.
Makes sense. Which comes, let me just quickly ask a little bit about the kind of projects that you guys are doing, right? Because I think you are offering something like project-based learning in Must to students who are interested, right?
Yes.
So, Chandrika and Joy, I think both goes to both of you. How does it differ or complement, let's say, the existing academic system that is already there? And I mean, what kind of bridge does it create? For example, consider the fact that, okay, that what Raman was saying, right? 5% will go for invention,
Mm.
right? It's okay. If we don't consider those 5% as, obviously, if somebody is going for invention, they'll go for a proper academic course, and then they will go for research. They'll try multiple avenues, etc. But if somebody just had to, grow into the role of an AI product manager, for example, or even and then, how much of that industry knowledge do you give? Also, what he was suggesting, right? If I shift from industry to industry, like if I shift from banking to, let's say, retail, I might not need so much of stuff that I've already picked up in banking. But if I'm doing the other, that is from retail to banking, I need to pick up, right? So if that is the case, then how much of it is actually being done by what kind of projects are you guys helping students with? And how does it translate into actually success for them?
So Chandrika, you want to go first?
Okay, let me start with, and then you can. So, Tanishto, actually, we are offering this capstone internship projects, this kind of learning, which is actually aimed to bridge the gap where students are already into some engineering college, final year students, or tech professionals also. They are aiming to get a promotion or higher AI skills they want to achieve. Those people who are lacking that bridge, that
Mhm.
doing a project and getting a certified project certificate from a renowned institution like Mass Research, which can actually add to their CV or resume, which can add weightage. How it is possible? Because when they are doing their studies or their final year engineering students, they have some basic projects in their curriculum. Obviously
Mhm.
they are doing it, but at the end of the project they are not gaining that kind of confidence or understanding in AI. Maybe that is what they are doing, mostly spoon feeding kind of thing. But in Must Research, what we are offering, we are not offering any bookish knowledge, because we assume they know it. They know Python. Python
Or
is
we
base
also
of
provide
everything.
study materials. Okay, if
Right.
you
Yeah.
know this, this is the kind of reference. But mostly we focus on, as Chandrika mentioned, like the work itself. And Raman was also mentioning about the two variable thing, right? So
Right.
the candidate, he or she knows about what is regression, or the candidate
Mhm.
knows about what is logistic regression. So we are not again starting with the stat math and the concepts of machine learning. Okay, so that is the prerequisite. If they don't,
Because interrupting you, because a student in bachelor in designing BDES, I know few students when they are doing BDES, they are also learning R or Python, basic kind of those kind of programming. They are also learning in their curriculum, but that's it. They don't know, or they don't have the certificate of completion of AI project.
they're not working on a project which
They
is
are
very
not particularly
deep in
working on a
research.
project on a particular domain which they can actually add to their curriculum vitae or their resume. So there, with this kind of certificates of completion of any AI project, they are going to get much better opportunities in their uh, future course of career or their life. That is what we are aiming and we are providing, and we are actually supporting. There are already many students have enrolled in this capstone internship projects, so they are getting guidance from us, like that key. They are learning on their own also. They are actually getting motivated to do their research work on their own, from getting that ideation, that which is a very exciting or has much valued AI projects in recent times. So they are going to select the projects on their own, or we are guiding them, which will be more fruitful to select which areas. So they are getting that ideation as well as how to go about that. From scripting the this Python codes, how they're using those things in Google Colab, and then totally completing that projects and then presenting as well as full guidance and everything are provided from us research lab.
And how long does it take for you to kind of finish from, let's say,
It
start
is
to finish?
like 12 weeks. We have a basic structure of 12 weeks, minimum 12 weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely it depends on the students. If he or she is a professional, it depends on their timing. It is a flexi timing course we are offering. If they can do it on the weekends according to their available time, or they
Mm-hmm.
can join after their college or after the office timing on weekdays also. So 12 week is a structure we have implemented. With every week they have a goal to achieve, they have to something, they have to submit some work in every weekend. Now depending on their work pressure or something, they can extend it more or they can do it more less than 12 weeks. It
Makes
depends
sense.
on the student or the person who is actually taking up.
So,
So,
and everything that we've been discussing so far, if I just take a step back, what I realize is that until and unless you have a proper education in maths, stats, and science and all that, it's really difficult, right? To get into it. But what I realized at the same time, as Raman was saying, that if somebody has to use it, and if it's a student in political science, they will still need a bridge, right, to come to a place where they can, because using ChatGPT is one thing, but literally using and I'm not saying build new tools, but at least build certain models that will be useful for them, right? And being able to compare and work out different analytics models that might actually be developed. And as we all know, you're right, when you guys were also doing Watson in IBM, I remember it used to be a very mixed team. So while there were a lot of data scientists, etc., as a part of it, there used to be people who would feed in a lot of information as well, right? So there would be receptionists and others who would also be a part of that team. And so suppose, somebody from, let's say, from a completely arts background, right? And I'm saying that because I am a part of that. My background is in English literature with very little maths anywhere after class 12, right? So if somebody had to make the transition, how would they do it? What would you recommend for somebody to kind of go and not become, let's say, an inventor, but come to a point where they can actually are able to fuse their existing hunger for their, respective fields, be it political science or history or something, and still use AI to kind of build something on their own.
See, Tony, in Master Research, we also have this no-code AI. I think you're aware of, right? I mean, started with that. But with no-code AI, like where you don't have to actually write a single line of, say, Python code or R code and all. That is like a very, kind of superficial. I mean, it's you cannot go beyond certain boundary with that. Definitely, you will understand like a few things like decision trees or some kind of other models. But the problem here is what we observed, even after taking multiple sessions on no-code AI, what we observed is like coding is essential. Even Python coding is different from the other programming languages. Okay, so Python is kind of it's kind of an encapsulation of C programming. It came on top of C programming. The way the technical people used to write C or Java codes or C++ codes, like suppose 100 different lines of code, you can actually write it in 2 lines or 3 lines in Python. Because there is a package, you have to just import that package and run. So in that way, writing codes in Python is not that difficult. If a person is logical, if someone is good at reasoning, even if he or she is not from engineering background, they can still learn Python-based program. Okay. And as I mentioned, these libraries and packages, these are all available in the open source world. Okay. So it's not like you have to write from scratch. There are a lot of things which are available. Only thing is like you have to understand or learn how to integrate them together. That is number one. Second comes this invention part, right? Once you learn something, then you may think, Arey, I can do this, then I can do that also. That comes later. But from that perspective, if someone can understand like a little bit of logical thinking, right? If that thinking power someone has, they can actually easily learn Python. And believe me, earlier we used to memorize the syntax of C program code or Java syntax. Those are like, array, what I have to write here, what should be this for this loop and all pointers. But the same way we used to remember our friends or relatives' landline numbers, the same era. Then we used our brain to remember the syntax of C Java and to remember the landline numbers of our relatives and friends. Nowadays, we don't remember the phone numbers. Why? Because we know there is a device beside me, our mobile phone, and that stores everyone's number. So we don't memorize. That means we don't want to memorize. Our brain doesn't want that information to be stored in our brain because our brain knows these set of information are there in the phone, in the handheld device. Same way, this Python code, syntax, libraries, everything is available over internet. So we don't remember syntax. The only thing what we have to understand is the logic, properly taking them and stitching them together. That is what is our program, like this capstone project, we are teaching these things, right? So even someone is coming from a non-tech background, but they are very good at reasoning, they can join our program as well.
I just want to add one point. See, there is a myth. I think it's a myth that only from science or maths background you can come into data science or AI. What I understand from my journey that though I am a science student, still I understand the statistical part when we are in data science or in AI, when we are choosing the model, the algorithms we are choosing, the regression model, which will be the best fit for our requirement. Then your statistics, those knowledge of statistics and some mathematical background definitely will help. But if you are choosing a specialization on natural language understanding, on natural NLP, those areas, then a student from arts background is definitely more, uh, definitely they have more sound knowledge and they have vigorous that knowledge graph they really carry forward with them. So that will be a helpful proposition for them to take up this AI data science. It is not, they are never, they should be discouraged to take up AI or data science area. Another thing is that what I understand that, so be it software engineering, writing code in software, or reasoning these things in Python code, or writing codes, whatever. When you are writing some particular code to achieve some particular results through your program, then what is most demanding is that you have the very crisp and sound knowledge of the logic, what you are getting, what you are asking and what you are achieving. More clear is your logic, more short will be your code. If you don't understand the logic, your code might be long and vast, that might not have the same value of a crisp short code. So if I consider logic, then why not when a person who is taking up legal area, law, when someone is studying law, then that person also requires a basic understanding of logic. if the sense of logic is not clear in a student, he cannot do great in bachelor in law, LLB also. So here the same thing, the logic, understanding, and everything is very much required. So if you are good in the logic, there is no one can stop you in actually achieving the benchmark in AI.
Even there are courses, so even the MCA course, right, Tony?
Hmm.
For MCA, even the physics chemistry is not required, right? It's like in 10 plus 2, you need maths, or in graduation level, you need only maths, nothing else, right? So
Right.
like the BTech or BE BTech program that requires physics, chemistry, mathematics, right? All three subjects. But MCA, now if someone is doing, say, a BCom honors, and after that, he or she is selecting MCA, then they are also learning Master of Computer Applications. And in that
Right.
course, they are anyway learning programming as well, right? So from BCom background, and it's natural. I mean, MCA is now almost like, I think 2 decades back, got started.
Yeah, it started 2 decades back.
So that's quite acceptable. The same way, any non-engineering background candidate, they can still learn AI. And as I mentioned, like Chandrika was mentioning, student or college student, definitely that's her, like,
Right.
primary set of participants. At the same time, we are getting not only students, so we are getting candidates who are right now working in industry. They are having 10-15 years of experience, 15 plus, even 20 plus years of experience. We received one request, and he was asking me like, is it a right time for me to learn AI? I said like, yes, any time is right time if you have that hunger and thirst.
Right.
That's very important. And with that passion, and we are there with all those passionate people, whether he or she is a fresher or still in third year graduation in any stream. And then why I'm saying third year, because fourth year of the final year always becomes very hectic for job application and campus interviews and all. But pre-final year is always preferred, because that is the right time to learn new things, and they can actually add these projects in their CV, in their resume, so that they can actually show it to the interviewers in the placement, or this recruitment cycle and so on, right? So that is definitely helpful.
Makes sense. I'll quickly ask, like nowadays, I think we have a choice. We just take a step back from college and go back to school, right? Because if it has to be universal, it has to start from school. Uh, I mean, pretty much, right? You have computer science in school, so why not AI as well, right? So we are kind of given the chance, and this goes to Chandrika mostly because you have also dealt with schools a lot. That we have a chance of taking up subjects from class 9 onwards, right? We look at the ICSE and all that. We select either we are pushed into science with PCM and all, with biology as well, or we are pushed into commerce, right? And then these are the two streams. So, what do you think should be added to this curriculum to kind of make them AI ready by the time they hit college? Because kids are getting ready anyway. Whether parents like it or not, kids are experimenting with ChatGPT. They were the first to experiment with YouTube. They're the ones who are on Instagram. They know more about Reels than most of us, right? So they will experiment. The point is to formalize it in school education, for example. What do you think needs to get added, deleted, changed?
So, Tony, what I have experienced in the past few months, uh, the again that hunger is there in the school authority. They are thinking to introduce AI in classes starting even from class 7, 8 onwards. But the pain point where they are stuck is the uh, financial structure they are having with their current batch of academic year.
Mhm.
So they have that constraint. Financial constraint is actually stopping them from getting into much in-depth
Advanced
AI
course.
curriculum, because as you know, we can't just give theories like history and other means in history also, if you just go for the theory, you will not enjoy that class. For a student also, if you just read out the Mughal history, okay, if the student is actually imaginative, he will actually see all those images and he or she will enjoy. But
Mhm.
suppose the student is not that imaginative, then definitely a tour of Agra Fort definitely going to add that gist of that
Right.
adding more interest into history for that particular student. Similarly, if I just teach the theories of AI, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, every day I'm class in the class, I'm just showing these are these, these are these. That is not going to get the student attracted towards what actually what specifically what is very innovative or something very new to them. It is not going to be understood by the kids or students like that. So what we need is practical experience now. So AI setup or AI lab is very much required. So most of the students have, most of the schools have computer labs set up for their students nowadays. There is no
Mhm.
problem in that. But again, when they are thinking, again, they have to set up an AI lab. That is the constraint they are having. They are going backward. So getting
Right.
a setting up an AI lab is most crucial nowadays to start with the AI journey or AI education. Though CBSE and ICSE curriculum has AI introduced from class 9 to 10 onwards, in
Mhm.
ICSE curriculum they have robotics also, but those things has to be practically taught to the students. If
Right.
they do not see the impact of AIs, maybe a little robot is walking or something, some machinery changes, which is very on their eyes. It is very exciting to see. Then only they will get that interest into that subject. So there is a that kind of gap we are observing, and we are just keeping our fingers crossed. Key maybe within 5 years that situation will change. Okay,
Right.
so definitely inclusion of more AI into the syllabus and setting up the labs, the specific maybe a 20 students. If I think about a perspective of 20 to 30 students initially also, that
Mhm.
kind of setup must be done before a large inclusion of AI into the syllabus of curriculum.
Makes sense. I think we are pretty much close to our time. I think we have answered quite a few questions today. So before I think we call it a day, let me just ask a question which is very frank. Now, Raman, you have spent a long time in the US, right? Ever
Yeah.
since we left college, you did some stuff, research in here, and then you pushed
Yeah.
off, and then you didn't want to come back.
Yeah. But I came back.
Yeah, until obviously your visa problem started and you had
Yeah.
pushed. But
That's
anyway,
right.
let me just ask you because see, when it comes to talent, right, we still look at either US
Right.
uh, as a center hold of all the AI inventions that are
Mm-hmm.
there, uh, and some of the other countries. I know there's a lot of stuff happening in Korea, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely China. So, but typically, if AI, and I'll come to this, I'll say why, because I want that perspective of mentality. And, if we really wanted India to be an AI powerhouse,
Mm-hmm.
right, what are those three things that you would leave as takeaways for the industry per se in India? Because, if I look at it, I mean, a considerable amount of innovation is happening here as well. There are quite a few GCCs and AI labs being built. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of really building that image of, something as a place where AI really comes from, like a stronghold, like a product stronghold, because we have traditionally been seen as a back office offering
Yep.
IT services for years, right? That's how the industry grew. So the
Yeah.
history itself is marked with that. And now we're trying to make a transition with Make in India and with
Yeah. Yeah.
products happening here. So what are those three things that you would leave as takeaways for people in the industry here?
Yeah. I think like you said, I mean, US is there at the forefront and all that. Uh, and you'll find that the people who are actually driving the industries are right. Basically, people again from China, India, who have had their basic,
Right.
who have had their, undergrad education or, even their master's education in India itself. So
Mhm.
it's not that they got their education there in the US. What US provided was mostly infrastructure, and that say so to say the playground to work with, instead of having, like, let's say somebody with if somebody came in, let's say I want to do an AI engineer, it is not a laundry list of things, that he has to prove in order to be an AI engineer. He's basically tested on few things, and if he has a potential to be an AI engineer, he's allowed to work on an AI project. I mean, that freedom is allowed, though, right? And you'll be surprised, right? I mean, the people who are driving the AI industry, I mean, coming back to the same point, are the same people who are actually going from here, actually, right? So I think one which we need is a mentality of trusting. If there is new talent, if they want to do something, then we have to trust them. One second is infrastructure has to be there. Of course, without infrastructure, nothing is going to be happen. And uh, um, and second is, of course, we have to, get the right talent in there, so that's I mean, the order was not corrected here, but it should be the right talent, provide them the good infrastructure and allow them to, what they want to do. i
Right.
would i would say that would be the three, you know basic things, to do, not only in AI, in fact, in any other field. It's the same story, actually.
So, Joy, my question to you is slightly different, same question, but from a different light. And it comes from the fact that you have also been consulting the government. You have done that before, right? Of primarily the government of Telangana in helping them build an AI policy, along with the other partners as well. So, in terms of policy, what do you see as the three key takeaways that organizations or the governments should take to kind of literally make it a AI powerhouse in the world?
So actually, Raman covered most of the points, but yeah, apart from these, if I consider, one is like accessibility, right? So AI, whatever we are like developing as product and solution, should be close to the society. When government comes into the picture, right? And initially we discussed about some of these social security and so on, right? So AI must be used something related to healthcare, agriculture, education, transportation, which is important, which is like useful for daily lives, and social security, right? So all these things they have to consider. That is like from government's perspective, I would suggest, like they take, and we also are thinking about those like heart, HEART, healthcare, education, agriculture, retail, transportation, and then we have also had like this bits, right? So banking, electronics, so in that way, right, automobile, I mean, which comes the next part, but
Right.
telecommunications and social security. So now these are the top 10 what we found, like domains which the government as well as the corporate world should focus as corporate social responsibility as well. That is one. Second part comes in the encouragement, right? Encouraging the startups, the ecosystem, the students, the colleges, right? I think that is pretty much happening across India, which is good. I mean, especially in AI, we can find like a lot of AI summits or workshops are being even organized by multiple state governments along with government of India. I mean, so that is definitely great initiative.
Mhm.
And third is infrastructure, right? So government can think about like data center on and sharing those like public data, say for an example, agriculture data and all, which is not that much sensitive personal information.
Right.
Apart from healthcare data, there are a lot of data which can be used I mean, by these organizations or startups. They can build a lot of solutions on top of it, right? So infrastructure, data, and those kind of facilitation if government helps, right? That is, I think these three things they can think about. Like one is definitely the domains which they should focus on and then fund,
Mhm.
like allocate their budget for these projects. Second is this ecosystem development and a lot of summits and workshops and so on, and education and collaborating with, say, Must Research and doing all these things. Third is like providing infrastructure, data, and so on that will actually essentially help the government back, right?
Right. Okay, I think we are pretty much at the end of time. So, guys, thank you so much for doing this live with us. Whoever has been watching, you know the recording will be there on YouTube, so you can watch it anytime. If you have any questions, you can go to Must Research. You will find us in the club, all of us in the club, Joy and Chandrika in the academy and the labs as well. But all of us, if you want to, get in touch with us, you can just drop an email to Must. Must is primarily based out of Hyderabad. So, but yeah, we are all over, right? So it's pretty international right now. So thanks everybody. And I think we'll catch up soon again with something
Yeah.
more interesting.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you for
Thank
hosting
you.
this.
Bye. Have a good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Bye.
Bye.